Good morning, everyone, and again, thank you very much for coming along today. The role of the GMC, as I'm sure you know, is to protect the public by ensuring doctors practice to very high standards. And one of the ways we do this is to publish guidance. And what we're introducing you to this morning is our latest guidance on protecting children and young people. We hope doctors will find this guidance useful. Not least in making clear what's expected of them in this really, really important area. And the guidance has been produced to help doctors keep children and young people safe. It emphasises that all doctors, not only doctors who work with children day in and day out, but all doctors, like myself, who don't work with children, know that they have a responsibility to keep children safe. And as I said, a hospital doctor like me, who sees only adult patients, may think that it's nothing to do with us, but actually it is. And what the guidance says, that if you have a concern, then you have a professional duty to raise that concern with the right people in a timely manner. And what we want to do in the guidance is to assure doctors that even if their concerns turn out to be unfounded, provided those concerns are honestly held and are reasonable and pursued through the appropriate channels, then that doctor will not be criticised by us at the GMC. But we're grateful for the time and expert input to the review that we carried out. It was led by the Right Honourable Lord Justice Thorpe, the Deputy Chair of the Family Justice Council and Lord Justice of Appeal. And we're very grateful to the other members of the working group who produced the guidance. The review was comprehensive. The review went on for a couple of years, and it involved an initial call for written evidence. There are 22 oral evidence occasions. There were meetings with organisations representing parents and children and key policy groups. And that led to the preparation of draft guidance. And then there was a consultation on the draft guidance, which ran from June to October 2011. And that consisted of 3 questionnaires, a different questionnaire to each of the target groups. There were 17 meetings across the UK with various interested parties. And there was an online survey hosted by NetMums, which generated more than 1,500 responses. And we are about to send hard copy of the guidance, which you've got in your packs there, out to all doctors on our register, all 230,000 doctors on our register. So that's a sort of general overview of the background. And I'm going to hand over to Neil to give you somewhat more information.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Peter. Good medical practice, which, as I suspect all of you know, is our core guidance, sets out an obligation on doctors, a duty to protect and promote the health of children and young people. It also says they have an obligation to develop and maintain their knowledge, their skills to protect children that's appropriate to the role that as a doctor they perform. So what this guidance does today is set out in detail how they should act to meet that duty. It's aimed, as Peter says, at all doctors, whether or not they treat children. There are around 50,000 children in the UK who are on child protection registers. It's very likely, of course, that there will be more children at risk who are not on those registers. I want to emphasise that we recognise the difficulty for doctors and indeed for all health professionals working and social care professionals working in this area. It's not always easy to identify whether a child has been neglected or abused. We recognise too that the doctor's role can be critical in identifying that a child may be at risk, or indeed in establishing evidence that this is the case. And lastly, I think we accept that this is not only a difficult and complex area of practice, where teamwork is absolutely essential, and that teamwork is across professional boundaries. It's also controversial and sensitive, and it's often associated with both high emotions and high outcomes. So what we're doing here is setting out doctors' responsibilities and pointing out where they can access advice and support. I just want to highlight 3 areas in the guidance. The first is the importance that doctors treating adults are child protection aware. And that is a point that Peter's already made. Their responsibility extends to patients they may not have seen. Doctors need to be aware of the environments and indeed the individuals who may increase the risk of harm. The second is being aware of local child protection arrangements. And again, I think this is something that really is critical. Every doctor needs to know who to go for advice. And the systems across the UK may use different terms, but whether it's a designated professional or a lead clinician or whatever term is used, they need to know who it is that they should go to for further advice. And the third area is around sharing information. And this can be a difficult area for doctors. Doctors are rightly cautious about sharing any information about their patients, but in this area they do have specific responsibilities. They need to tell an appropriate agency if they have concerns about abuse or risk of abuse. They need to ask for consent before sharing information. That's consent from the parent or child, unless they have compelling reasons for not doing so. And they need to tell the parent or child they intend to share that information, unless that would put the child at increased risk. And they need to get advice if they're not sure who to share it with, or what to share, or how to manage the risk around sharing that information. Just one final point. I think it is worth making the point that a doctor may come across minor concerns, or have a hunch, or just be uneasy about a particular situation. Minor concerns can be part of a wider picture. So it is worth, again, discussing on an anonymous basis often with a designated professional or lead clinician if a doctor does have that level of low-level concern, as I say, because it may be part of a wider picture.